Why doesn't the Riddler play the violin?
Um, Boy, that's a good question.
Because he doesn't want to be called the fiddler. It's the greatest DC comic show on YouTube. Thank you for stopping by Fanboys Live and the Retro Review. We are so happy that you're here tonight. Signature King, how are you doing?
I'm great. Took the kids swimming, so we're a little sunburned, but on that we're fine.
Good. You can get a free swimming lesson outside the Themyscirian Embassy right now because it is pouring rain.
Oh, geez.
It is. Hey, it was great having you on a live stream with me on Friday night. You were kind of a little pop-up surprise guest. You filled in for Super Russ 9000, and it was fun. And that was our super stream talking about Superman. Oh, he's equally repping today. Wasn't it great having Tim, being reunited with Tim and doing a stream with him? Because it's been a long time.
Yeah, I forgot what he looked like.
Yeah, he still looks the same. Just
Yeah.
that those short boxes or long boxes are just kind of taking over.
Small. Yeah,
he kind of gets crowded in more and more each time.
Yeah, pretty soon he's just going to be doing audio only because he can't do video.
Yeah, exactly. It will just be a picture taped to a short box and then the audio. So, but yeah, that our super stream talking about Superman with Signature King, with Tim the Comic Collector, and with Matt, Mr. Gretzky 9966 is in the live playlist folder here on my channel. So, man, we got a fun show tonight, and we have a first-time guest with us again.
Yeah.
They said I couldn't make new friends, and I've been trying to prove them wrong. And we are very excited to welcome in Broke Boy Comics. It's Noah. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing tonight?
We're doing great. Boom, pow, bam, wham.
Oh yeah, my temporary background before my display can go back up. Before that, it was caution tape, and I've had people actually miss that over this.
Oh really? Yeah. See, I have a very well decorated behind me, but I just use this green screen of the blank wall, to drive people crazy because they want a decorated background and I want 1,000 subscribers. So maybe if we could kind of make each other happy,
A little 1K special, we'll get the display in the background.
That's right.
1K special, he gets to hang something.
Yeah. I definitely have the material. It's not from a lack of that, so that's for sure. So, but thank you for coming on the show tonight. For those that don't know, first of all, I met you in a Marvel chat.
Yeah, very interestingly enough, I didn't know what I was doing on that show, but
because you are a DC guy, right?
Yes.
Tell us about yourself. Tell us about your collecting. Tell us about yourself, your channel. Introduce yourself.
So my name is Noah, Broke Boy Comics. I've been seriously collecting comic books for around actually 2 years at this point. But before that, I've always had like a half a short box was like the most I ever had before I seriously got into collecting. And now as soon as I got back in, I was off to the races. I started going doing claim sales, buying online, things like that. And then I started going to in-person shows. And that's why I started to meet more people in the community. And it wasn't long after that where I went to a 3 Man in a Basement comic book swap, which they just had one of their ones recently. And I created my Instagram not long after that. And then I dove down YouTube. And here I am today with just a whole bunch of short boxes. And I still don't know what to do with it all.
So were you always interested in comic books? Or what was that final step that took you from a curiosity into a collector?
So I've always been a superhero person as a kid. I was watching, Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man, all the Batman movies, Superman, all that stuff that was coming out. So it really was the movies that as a kid, I was kind of brought into that and was known, as well as like Star Wars, like all the, nerdy franchises out there. And it wasn't until, as a kid, I grabbed a stack of free comic books from a convenience store. And I started reading them. And, when I was older and I started to get back into it, I realized after reading more, I was like, wow, this is, all these movies and everything that I came to love as a child, they all stemmed from comic books. So it was just me going into that physical. I've always been like a collector of a lot of different things in my life. So it was very easy for me to go down this rabbit hole of the root of where all the things I love came from.
Okay, awesome. And is there a favorite era that you like of comics? Is it the current era now? Is this your favorite, or are you like a Bronze Age, a Copper Age, or where are you, or just anything?
Yeah, so I am kind of all over the place. I have actually been considering recently more of getting rid of a lot of my modern stuff, besides like artists, like cover artists that I really like to follow, you know, keeping a lot of that stuff or other keys. But my favorite age as of right now is Silver and Bronze Age DC.
Okay, cool. Great.
Yeah.
And favorite character?
Oh, Batman, of course.
Yeah,
and I love how we're all repping Batman.
We are.
You know, that's great.
Yeah, that's great. Do you have a favorite Batman actor that's portrayed him?
Favorite? That's hard. I mean, the OG for me growing up was Michael Keaton, but The Batman with Robert Pattinson was such a great movie. So I'm interested. I'm not going to say he's my favorite, but I'm interested to see where he goes. Yeah, that movie is up there for sure.
And I've been asking all our guests this too, just because I feel, at least where I'm at, I feel the excitement for the Superman Legacy movie that's coming. Are you excited for that? Is that something that you'll see in the theaters? Will you wait to stream, or where are you in terms of that?
I'm very excited for the Superman movie. I'm going to see it opening night actually with some friends. So
nice.
Yeah, same with Fantastic Four too. Those are actually two movies I've never seen a movie opening night, and these ones are, for some reason, my first ones. But Superman I am greatly excited for, and I'm excited to see hopefully the DC universe goes, and hopefully it comes to par or outshines Marvel currently.
Yeah, nice, very nice. I think the general consensus from everyone that I've been talking to is everyone just wants a good movie. They don't care what it is as long as it's good. Are you going to get any popcorn buckets? Because those are the big things now. No popcorn buckets?
No popcorn buckets for me. It's just more money to spend on something that takes up a lot of space. So
yeah, I definitely understand. Yeah. You don't want to be broker boy comics.
Yes, exactly. The hobby already makes me broke enough. So
homeless boy comics.
Yeah. I was recently called Poor Boy Comics last weekend. So
okay.
Yeah, as long as you get the message with my name, that's all that I care about.
Okay. All right. We have some great folks that are in the live chat with us too. If you're watching on the rewind, thank you for spending some time with us too. We definitely don't take that for granted. And we start out with, I want to say this because very soon I won't be able to say this anymore. John's Comics with Kids. And I say that because there is a channel rebranding coming.
Ooh.
So I won't have many more John's Comics with Kids opportunities to say. So
I thought you were going to say he's trading his kids for some more comics. It'll just be John's Comics.
I think so. I think it's John's Comics with more comics.
Beat me too. I was just about to say that.
Yep. Noah is in the chat with us too, so appreciate that. Hey, Tony. Dan likes your shirt. D. Piercy's Comics is in here. He mentioned it twice. Tony is just completely ignoring it. Okay. Meow to the Jackson Roy Kirk. Hope that you're doing good. You've hit the nail on the head with that as well. White Tiger Cool, Calm, Collected, Muabunga to you. Hope that you're doing well. Jason's in here too, Southern Comic Geek. So we're off to a great start with some fantastic guests already joining us in the live chat. So cool. Oops, there goes the Signature King. Oh. So here 1 minute, gone the next.
And he's just like Batman. He does that sometimes, right?
Absolutely, he does. They turn around and he's just poof, he's gone.
Yep, he's gone. Yeah.
So while we wait for Tony to come back, and we'll kind of kick off the gist of the show. In the meantime, we'll just continue to get to know you a little bit more.
Awesome, yeah.
What are you looking forward to in the Superman movie? Is there anything specific? Is it the extra characters? Is it Crypto? Is it a villain? Is it just that he's back on a big screen? What is it?
I mean, I am definitely very happy that I'm going to be able to see a Superman movie in the theaters. I haven't seen any Superman movies in the theater before. But the thing I'm most excited about, in my opinion, and I think it's a lot of people agree with me, that like a villain really does make a movie or a superhero or a story, whatever it may be. So I'm really hoping that the villain of the movie is good, and just the overall movie is good as well. That as long as it's enjoyable and I don't walk out of the theater with like a disappointment, I think I'll be happy.
Good deal. I think that she summed it up quite well. Yep, Tony said Shazam.
Yep.
He disappeared.
Yeah, my Bluetooth died, so.
Oh, okay.
And what sucks about it is, I use a Bluetooth mouse and a headset, so I had to quick hop over to my USB mouse, turn Bluetooth back on. It's a pain.
Time to get to a dentist.
Yeah, right. I got too many blue teeth.
Tony, I don't see, in all honesty, I say this a lot, but especially this week, I did not see much news.
I saw one big one.
Tell me, because I've got one too. Maybe we had the same one.
Is it about Steve McNevin?
No.
Okay, so Steve McNevin.
No, it is. I'm sorry, it is.
Oh, dang. Okay, well, Steve McNevin, big, long-time Marvel guy. He's been with Marvel for 20 years?
Yeah.
He's finally doing some DC stuff for the first time ever. He's coming to do some art on the new Tom King run of Batman, actually. So that's pretty cool.
Sweet.
So I'm wondering, is this a run that Tom King is doing, or is it just a special? Because I read it's a 40-page Batman story that's coming out in 2026.
I don't know. You're right. That's all it says is 40-page Batman special.
Yeah, so. Because no one said anything about him leaving Wonder Woman currently or anything like that. So I kind of took it as a one-off, but I guess when we get more details, we'll know.
Yeah. We'll find out.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's for news-wise. That's it. I know. Gosh, we're right around the corner from Superman. San Diego Comic-Con's coming up too, so
yep.
I can imagine they're holding a lot of stuff in and just doing this big regurgitation of information at CDC.
Did you guys see that the Batman Part 2 movie script was just finished?
No, I didn't hear that.
I heard, and it'll probably be another 4 years before we can see it.
Right, yeah. I hope not, but
I as much as I enjoy the Batman, I am looking forward to whoever's going to be Batman moving forward.
Yeah.
Gunverse. But you always get these mixed reports. It's Robert Pattinson, and then James Gunn will come in and say, we've made no decisions. And someone comes in and leaks and says, oh, it's totally Robert Pattinson. And James Gunn will come back like, no.
Yeah,
so
right. We're still unsure about that, but hopefully we hear something soon about who's going to be our DCU Batman.
Yeah. So John's Comics with John's Comics with Kids says filming for Batman 2 scheduled for January.
That's his rebranding. John Comics with Cat.
Oops, I'm not supposed to say that.
Cat's out of the bag.
Literally. Yeah, that's pretty much all I saw for big news.
Yeah, it's quiet.
Yeah, it is pretty quiet. It is pretty quiet. So, see, look at that.
Yep. He's giving us the hints.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. Trading in his kids for cats. John's
Tony,
cats.
If you want to pull up the assist, I'm going to ask Noah because Noah picked out our retro review tonight, and I know this is a story that means something to you. So tell us what you picked out tonight for a retro review and why this story means something to you, or why you picked this tonight.
So I picked this. I have the issues on here. Is Batman Dark Knight Dark City. I have all 3 issues on here, and I actually just read them right before coming on to the show. So
nice. Yeah,
make sure they're fresh in my brain. But this is just a small 3-part. Oh, I was holding the issues out of order. It's okay. This is just a 3-part story that I just really engage with. Riddler is one of my favorite villains, so he's in this story, and it's also the first time they ever mentioned Barbathos, who they use later on in the Dark Knight's Metal storyline and Death Metal. So I just thought it was interesting. I really like how the writing is well done in this as well, and the kind of backstory. It was just such an interesting read for me, and it was one of the only things I haven't read a ton. I always say it's a lot easier to buy a whole bunch of issues than it is to read all of them.
You're right.
So that's why it sticks in my brain. Just and it's a good kind of one-off story. Like there's not a ton that you need for background with this. Mm-hmm. So for anyone that is just looking for a quick story to read that doesn't, pertain to a ton of backstory, I thought this was a great one. All
right. Well, we'll let you kick it off with, first of all, for those that are wondering, it's 1990 that this was released.
Yes.
So we'll let you kick it off, Noah, with the first issue of this story, which is 452.
Yep. So this first issue here, we obviously have beautiful cover art by Mike Mignola. So that is awesome. And so starting off in the story here, we go back, and I believe the time was 1793, I think is the year that the past stuff took place.
Sounds right.
So we're in old Gotham, and we see here that these gentlemen are getting ready for a demonic ritual where they are eventually going to take a woman and sacrifice her to take control of a daemon who they mention is Barbathos, the Bat God. And it's funny, we have here too, Thomas Jefferson apparently was a part of this cult, which was interesting. And it definitely, it's not like a funny name, like, oh, maybe it's him. They definitely say multiple times, like, hey, he dives into politics, and they talk about his political side, which is very interesting. But we see here that, Thomas Jefferson is bringing down the young woman to eventually get sacrificed. And they are, starting this ritual to summon this demon, and they put her through a whole bunch of preparations before this ritual happened, which we don't really know what it is yet that they did to her. But then cutting to modern day, 1990 modern day, we have, and this is part of the storytelling that I loved, is just the description of like the sounds and the smells you hear throughout the story. That's why I thought the writing in this was great. And I believe it is kind of here that the narration in the story, you get the hint that last panel of the page where it says you are the Batman, it's almost hinting that it's not him narrating, and it does something we continue to see more throughout the story, which is interesting. And so Batman is summoned by Jim Gordon, and we see the narration again here. I am Gotham, which it's, kind of hints of it could be Batman, we don't really know. But here it is Batman meeting up with Jim Gordon, and they are talking about the Riddler going ahead and kind of putting out a calling code word to summon the Batman, and that he's up to something. And they did a riddle of a Sphinx, I believe. I don't want to read it word for word, but then Batman all of a sudden realizes there's also someone up there on the roof with them, and it is this woman dressed as a Sphinx. So, Riddler being clever, and the woman is drugged, as you can see it in her eyes. And she starts spinning out a riddle, and then as soon as she lets the riddle be known to Batman, she then kind of lunges herself off the cliff, or off the not cliff, side of the building, the rooftop, which eventually, Batman does try to save her, but then she does fall almost to the street into a restaurant and crashes through the window, and then she does pass away there. And then cutting away from that, we see the Riddler hold up somewhere with police officers, one hanging, are about to be hanged, and another one tied up in the back, and he is, kind of toying with them, but then he goes off and offs one of the officers because he doesn't need him, which I feel like Riddler, in a lot of stuff that I have read, he's not crazy killing people. I mean, he does for sure, but it's not without reason. And this is one of those things where he's like, yeah, I don't need him. Just kill him off. And this story too does show a decent amount of blood, which I feel like I don't see a lot in Batman. A little bit, but and we cut back away from the Riddler. We this is where we find out that the woman did pass away. Batman could not save her, which he continues to beat himself up about, which he does a lot of the times when he can't save a person. And then he takes the riddle of where Jim Gordon thinks that the Riddler is pointing them to the cemetery, but Batman finds out it is the library that he needs to go to next, which is where the Riddler is currently. He gets to the library, but then we cut back to the demon ritual from the 1700s. They are about to sacrifice the woman, whereas Thomas Jefferson, though, kind of is more off-put. I don't think he fully understood what he was getting into, whereas he doesn't want to sacrifice the girl. He then, I believe they hear a loud noise, and this is also because I didn't mention it before, is all narrated by, I think it was Jonathan Stockman, who is the owner of the farm where this ritual is happening, and he is writing in a journal, in a book, of the events that happened. I think he wrote it 30 years later. But then the ritual about to be done, but it goes off the rails, and they open up the doors to see a giant shadowy bat figure and a loud, scary noise, frightening them all as they try to escape. But cutting back to modern day, it does cut back and forth quite a bit, giving you that backstory as well as the modern day at the same time. Batman does come in to find the dead officer that the Riddler shot, and the Riddler there, kind of toying around with Batman, and he then hits the officer off of the stack of books he's standing on, whereas he is then choked by the oh my god, I blanked out on what the noose. Thank you. Noose is what that is called. Batman then throws a batarang, tries to save him, and he does then, he's choked, but then breathes life back into him. He then brings him to a hospital later on, which we find out he is still alive, thankfully. But then I forget how he gets the cassette tape, but he gets a cassette tape from the Riddler, and he also finds out that the Riddler stole 4 babies from the hospital. And so Batman, now listening to the cassette, listens to the riddle, and he finds out from the Riddler that he next needs to go to the blood bank. There is 2 goons sitting outside, which he easily disposes of them. And he's kind of thinking that, he's trying to figure out what the Riddler is planning. Why is he doing the things he's doing? And because there seems to be no motive as of right now. So we go ahead, and he takes out the goons at the outside of the blood bank pretty easily. He asks where the Riddler is, and the one of the goons says he's inside. He's been waiting for you. And Batman is very much scary, where he scares the fear into one of these guys, and he drops his knife in fear, and just like struck by fear, I guess. I was trying to find a more
descriptive. It's a good description. No, you're good.
Yeah. We then now cut into him walking into the blood bank, finding the Riddler sitting on top of one of these shelves with the baby. And he feels that he's kind of thinking of, he's walking into a maze of, of these riddles, and he's being led somewhere. And that he also can't shake this feeling that someone is watching him, not just the Riddler, but something else. And so the Riddler then throws the baby as Batman tries to catch it, successfully catching the baby, tries to take a stab at the Riddler, and does kind of get his ankle there. But then Batman now realizes, as he hears words coming from the baby, that it is a dummy, which he is definitely blown off guard, and it explodes in his face with a bunch of blood. And in doing so, also, the entire blood bank almost explodes, and he is just drenched in blood, which I thought was crazy the first time I ever read this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's then covered in blood, now, disorientated, ears ringing, blood in his eyes. He calls the Batmobile to come in so he can get in it and follow the Riddler. And just, he's still, driving the Batmobile covered in blood. He even, again, the writing in this just describing how, it's in his eyes, he can't see. And then as he turns into an alleyway, there is a baby, one of the actual ones the Riddler stole, on the road. He then brakes, trying to stop the Batmobile before it hits the child. And he cuts it very, very close. He hears a thud almost, and he thinks that he hits the kid until he hears a cry. And he realized it was just the I think it was the axle of the car just hit the ground, and that's the thud that he heard. So he, thank God, didn't kill the baby. But then in the baby's hand is his next clue, the hanged man, which tied to the police officer that was being hung, and that's also Batman's, I guess, code word that the Riddler uses. We then see Batman, after getting that next clue, go and clean up at his mansion and kind of talks to Alfred as they try to decipher this next riddle. Him also saying how he feels like he's in a maze and that he's being watched. He has this like weird feeling about everything that's happening in the night. And then, you know, they continue on, and he again has that feeling that he's being led somewhere by something. Alfred, being the lovely man that he is, figures out the riddle, that it's the military cemetery he has to go to next. We are assuming that this is the next night because he does clean the bat suit and says, you know, your evening wear for tonight is ready. And then Batman, you know, gets ready to go out and goes to the military cemetery. Military cemetery. That's a interesting two words to put together. And then again, I love the writing in this, how it talks about the sense of the flowers, you know, dead and alive, the soil and being damp. And this is also the part of that narration where we are kind of learning that this isn't Batman that's narrating the story, where it's saying the night is ours, Batman. And Batman, whoever this narrator is, he's very interested in Batman, and maybe this is who is leading him somewhere. And then a zombie comes out of the grave, and the narrator is saying the night is ours. So,
wow,
yeah,
good kickoff there.
Yeah, it was a very good kickoff. That's what really got me hooked onto the story, was just like not really knowing what the Riddler's doing, and you know, he's feeling like he's watched. He has these weird feelings, and then the narrator, you get that sense of, oh, we don't know who this is. So yeah, that's what hooked me onto this.
Yeah, very nice. So for the story that I'm going to take the next issue, we have a really good cover there with Batman and zombies.
Yes.
So you can't go wrong when you have that. And on the first page, we instantly pick up Dark Knight, Dark City Part 2, right where you ended on the previous issue. And it's Batman. He's startled that there is this zombie coming up from the grave. And we have this narration dialogue again, you know, how it's shaken off its worms and its oblivion. It's dragged itself from the cold bed just to be with you, for you are the Batman and I am Gotham. And interestingly enough, as all of this will play out later on, and the sweet thing only wants to hold you, Batman. And the sweet thing only wants to hold you, Batman, as I want to hold you. I want you, Batman. I will have you very soon, but first, the dance. So now he's being attacked by all of these different type of zombie corpses. He's surrounded by them. He was at first a little bit startled from them. And Batman's even surprised that the Riddler has taken such an extreme action like this. So one zombie particularly hits him on the head and starts pushing him down, fingers digging into his scalp. He's planting his face into the ground, grave mud. He's like, but if he's dead, how do I hurt him? You know, so Batman takes his arm and whacks him in the head, which actually causes a reaction. It was a groan. And how does a corpse groan? And so he's like, well, now I need to see just exactly how dead you are, mister. So outside in the van, the Riddler is watching over this with his other henchmen, and they notice that, you know, Batman's got Jimmy. And he said, Riddler says, so I see if Jimmy isn't careful, he'll end up with more than an authentic corpse than he already is. So Jimmy is one of the Riddler's henchmen dressed as the zombie who's striking him, and Batman is starting to fight back, but the Riddler is just ecstatic about how all of this is playing out, almost as if it's a choreography come to life. And he's saying, don't they make a lovely couple? A tombstone tango, a catacomb can, you know? And the other henchmen are like, what has happened to him? He is gone. I've never seen him this crazy or bloodthirsty. I'm like, I don't know. Maybe he's having some type of a midlife crisis. So we cut to this next page and we see that we have corpses and zombies.
Can I interject really quick?
Yeah,
actually,
do
I just
it.
noticed something. Back on that last page, one of his henchmen with the glasses, I think that's actually, I didn't notice it before. I think that's the cop that handed Batman his riddle at the hospital after...
Oh, really? I didn't notice that either.
Yeah, and then he was the one that mentioned that the 4 babies were kidnapped from the hospital. I just caught that, actually.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that was him definitely falling into the Riddler's games there.
Yeah. So check out that full page splash. I mean, that speaks volume. That could almost be a cover for itself right there.
That's beautiful.
It'd be a really cool poster.
Yeah, it would be a cool poster. So as we continue on with the story on the next page, there are more corpses swarming all over him. Sewer breath, they're not letting go. He snaps their arms and realizes he's got a robot going on here. He knows he's got at least a real one somewhere because he reacted with that thud, but he's got robots. And he sees one of the corpses, which we know now is Jimmy, take off. And he's like, okay, that's my real guy. I think the rest of them, are robots. This one's just playing dead. So, he says, let's go after him. And in the van, they mentioned to Riddler, Jimmy's down. And Riddler's concerned that Jimmy mustn't talk to the Batman about her project, which is why he put an explosive device was placed in the makeup around Jimmy's neck. It's small and effective, just like me, and he kills Jimmy right there in front of his henchmen, who are mortified, scared. This is a new level to their boss that they've never seen before. And he's like, he's one of our own. What are you doing? You're just playing games with Batman, and Jimmy is a buddy of ours. And Riddler says, you'll be as dead as he is if you don't shut up and drive and get us out of here. So Batman hears this engine start up and take off, and he knows it's time to go after them. And he starts running through the cemetery. Meanwhile, we have Riddler and his henchmen trying to get away. And the henchman mentions that this had better be worth it, Riddler. Ever since you found that old book, you've been acting like a nut, You're starting to make the Joker seem sensible. And he's like, Chuck, I'm doing these things. I see things clearer now than I ever have before. I have an inner voice that's guiding me. And all of a sudden, Batman appears right in front of the windshield, freaks them out, and they have an opportunity to run him over. But Riddler orders his henchmen not to do that and grabs the wheel and steers it clear so Batman doesn't get run over. And Batman notices that the Riddler wants him to live. He saved his life, and that's important to him. It's important to him abducting the babies, the crazy stunts. He's doing all of this specifically for Batman. He's setting him up, and he's using him, but why? That's the question. And his henchman is saying to Riddler, we could have run him over. We could have been rid of him once and for all. What's gotten into you? And Riddler says, oh, you could say, I've got religion. So back in the cemetery, Batman knows he's lost Riddler and the henchmen for now. They're back in the cemetery looking at the bodies. No black magic. It was just cybernetics, mechanical zombies. And he looks at the real man with the hole in his throat was, probably added as a little bit of a muscle to make the show last a little bit longer. And Riddler got rid of him, just like he got rid of a girl on the rooftop, which was in Noah's previous issue. And the babies, he's taken them. He's got security guards. And Riddler's changed. He's become psycho. That's evident to Batman. He thinks about it. It's a filthy night, no moon, no stars. But he hears a sound behind him, and he turns slowly. He kind of feels like he knows what he's going to expect. He's starting to know how the game is played, even though he doesn't know what game it is. But there's a second baby there. Now he has two of the missing babies. And next to the baby, of course, is a riddle. And carved in stone, it says, you'll find another little tot at the 25th who was shot. Now that cuts us back to our story back in 1793 from Jacob Stockman's diary that he wrote. And as he continues in, he explains that this occult ritual summoned Barbathos, and this winged creature began attacking them in their black temple, and they were trying to escape. So their sacrifice is down there, and she woke up from her drugs and stared at this human bat monster in horror, while the rest of them, the 6 occultists, had escaped upground and sealed her in there with them, this demon and this monster. They all went their separate ways and never returned. So Jacob Stockholm, who wrote this diary, ended up selling his farm. He moves to Canada. Another member of the group ends up committing suicide. Third member lost his life at Saratoga. Their fourth member is Thomas Jefferson. Once again mentioned that he threw himself into politics, and it's unbeknownst what happened to the other two. And then this black temple was paved over, and Gotham City ends up being built over top of it in time. So that was kind of our montage. So now as we go into the next page, we are back to the 1990 modern day, and we have Batman driving the Batmobile past the area where the Black Temple is entombed, and this shiver kind of goes down his spine. He realizes he needs to make it back to Wayne Manor so he can think about the next riddle, and he starts to fall asleep. As he's sleeping, he has this dream about his parents and the night that his parents were killed. And he's thinking about the labyrinth of streets that they walk down. And, he wants to warn his parents, but in this dream, he can't speak. He's mute. He's just a witness to what he knows is going to happen. The mugger, the gun, the shots, his mother's eyes, he can't stop them. The city's pulling them apart to where it waits in the shadows. Him, the one who's been waiting for me. The city has made me. And then he wakes up and screams, and he realizes it was a dream, an old dream, but kind of different because the answer came to him of the riddle in this dream. The 25th who was shot, and they are on McKinley Street. And of course, President McKinley was the 25th president, and he was shot. He was assassinated. But he's kind of like, what does this mean? Does the Riddler know about the death of my parents? Does he know that I'm Bruce Wayne? Is it just a coincidence? He's like, it has to be a coincidence. He can't know. He just can't know. It's too close, but it's so close to be a coincidence, And then once again, this narration, the city has made me. What does this mean? So we cut back over to the Riddler and his gang. And they're talking about they can have a bat barbecue with this new fire weapon that they have, the flamethrower that they have. And Riddler says, we won't be using them just yet. And they're kind of questioning, don't we actually get to burn him? And in the meantime, Riddler's tossing these ping pong balls. And he's like, he's asking to make sure these ping pong balls are just the right size. And yeah, the guys are like, yeah, it kind of is. And then he's like, well, the baby needs changing. So he orders one of his goons to change him and says, but make sure to keep them alive. 3 babies were stolen, but were not killed, instead given back to their mothers. And he says, 3 babies? I thought we stole 4. And he's like, insurance. You got to have a little insurance. So, and then he talks about how they managed to get the pets ready. And they're like, what are they talking about? And they're like, it wasn't easy. One of them took off part of Stefan's arm. So now you're left with a little bit of mystery. Batman is patrolling Gotham now, and he's headed to the McKinley neighborhood, McKinley Street, and he's going through the dive bars, and there's the McKinley tavern that he goes into, an all-night bar. And he walks in there, and his presence just isn't even thought of twice by some of the residents that are in there. Batman's asking if anyone's seen anything out of the ordinary, like a man with a baby. As he's inquiring, this van just backs in and crashes in with a whole bunch of glass shattering everywhere. The back doors open. And what comes out of the back doors? Creatures, all right. Pit bull terriers. And they start attacking the patrons. And, these are cutthroats. So obviously that's what chewed off Stefan's arm. One of the Riddler's goons was one of these dogs as they were trying to get him in the van. And as they attack, Batman's trying to fight them off. And Sergeant McCarthy from Gotham City Police Department happens to be there just off duty. And he ends up shooting one of the dogs. All of a sudden, Batman's warned to watch out. And one of the dogs goes to attack him. And he's handed a silver knife. And Batman just takes the knife and just, stabs the dog with it to get the dog off of him. And the bartender just starts to run away. And Batman's trying to figure all of this out and who gave him this silver knife. And then they're like, hey, don't just stand there. Get after him. I'll look after the bar, says the police guy that was the patron. So the Riddler, Batman says, is going to make a mistake sooner or later. And the walls of his maze are going to crumble. So Riddler is speaking to Batman through a microphone. And he says, hey, Batman, you need to hurry. The life of a little baby depends on you. And he gives him an easy riddle. I'm just below Hamilton East on right. I take the corners and 4th, Hamilton East on right. So that's where Batman shows up. And as he's driving this van, very recklessly, I might add, he ends up at the Hamilton and right corner. And he gets out and he starts looking and he realizes he must be down below. And so he goes down into the sewers. And as he gets to the very bottom, he's bombarded by this bright light. And someone informs him, yeah, Batman, we're here. And it's some of Riddler's goons who start attacking him. They're blinding him with this light as they start hitting him, and pain starts to ensue. Batman knows he's playing with them. And he says, he thinks I'll show them how a bat plays. And then he finally knocks him out. And there is Riddler standing with one of the babies. And Riddler says, hey, there's a ping pong ball stuck clear in his throat. See you later, Batman. And he starts to take off. And he's like, I got to take care of this kid so he doesn't choke. I got to get him to the hospital, but there's no time and he's not breathing. And he tries hitting the baby's back, seeing that if he can get it lodged out, but it's not working. And there's no time to get to the hospital. If he doesn't start breathing in 2 minutes, all of this is going to be over. He knows what he has to do. It's called a tracheectomy, and it's an incision in the principal air passage in order to facilitate breathing. Batman says, you know how to do it, so do it. But he's hesitant, and that's how this issue ends. So, hey, Gordon, thanks for stopping by.
Crazy.
Yes. And now we'll have Mr. Tony to wrap up this 3-issue storyline, and then we'll start some dialogue with our thoughts on it, too.
So, now my issue makes a little bit more sense. Because I only read my issue, so...
Shame, Mr. Tony. Someday you're going to have to read all of them.
No way. I like being surprised. I like the surprise. But, I mean, the more I read, it literally picks off right where you stopped. So this is the first introduction to the story I get, is Batman holding a knife to a baby. So I'm like, oh, what? And at first I didn't know what he was doing. All I know is he's like, I've got to do it. And he's holding this knife to this kid's throat. He's like, I've got to do it. And I'm like, whoa, Batman, like, what are we doing? Like, let's take, and then it all got explained, right down here in the bottom where it says, there's a something stuck in his throat. It's like, oh, okay, he's doing, tracheotomy. And that's what he did. He did the tracheotomy, and he brought the baby to the hospital, and he's approached again, by someone who with the next clue. So he takes it back to Wayne Manor, and him and Alfred are trying to figure out, where the next event is going to take place. And it was actually Alfred that figured out. No one gives Alfred enough credit. Alfred figured out that its pattern that it's making is an unfinished question mark. So the next clue, he's able to pinpoint it down, somewhere in this neighborhood. So, and that's exactly where he goes. And we cut back here to, essentially the farm where this event took place. And I got to admit, I'm a little bit of a dum-dum, okay? I can't read cursive very well.
Oh, trust me. When I first read this story, it was like I really had to like zone in. I'm like, okay, what does this say?
See, I actually thought they would do it in calligraphy, because that would be like the 1793s, I think.
Yeah.
But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, I had to reread this a few times. I was like, oh, that's not what's happening. But I still don't understand exactly what's happening. So the lady who was entrapped down there, could be heard screaming and clawing at the door trying to get out, but she just couldn't get out. And it looks like she eventually just dies. We cut back to the old circus grounds here in modern day, and Batman is confronted by a goat, which was just the distraction because he's kind of like in a mirrored house. And I kind of got Batman v Superman vibes where he had the flamethrower. You know what I mean? He kind of looks like that guy too a little bit. I don't know, it made me laugh a little bit. But yeah, Batman's in the mirrored funhouse, and he's dodging flames from the flamethrower. Yeah, he kind of gets like this weird, seeing all the damage to the mirrors and the scratches and all the burnings. He sees reflections of himself, and for a second there, he's kind of like, is he like a damaged soul, so to speak? Like he's looking at himself. He just find the baby here. But they're setting up a trap for him when he goes to the new location. And Batman's smart. He throws in the goat first, which I thought was pretty clever. I never would have thought of that. So he sends the goat in front of him to spring the trap, and Batman comes in, classic Batman, and starts beating up bad guys, which I thought was pretty cool. But his batarang gets attached to a beam, and it breaks, and he's pretty vulnerable at this point. But it's stopped by you don't know it at this point, but it looks like it's some kind of like old timey judge, from a distance, and then it comes back that it's the Riddler, and he's reading from the confessions of Jacob Stockman, which now that I know that from the other stories, I can put a name to a face. I didn't know who he was.
Yeah, he's reading the book that we've been talking about in the other 2 issues.
I was like, who's Jacob Stockman?
Mm-hmm.
And the only Stockman I could think of was Baxter Stockman from the Ninja Turtles. So I don't know.
No,
maybe
it wasn't that one.
Some weird crossover. But he's talking about, the events that take place, and now he's going to do the same thing here to Batman. And it was all just this big trap. Everything was a trap. Everything was set into place. Everything was set into motion. Even the knife that was given to him to, kill the dog and help the baby, and it was all, everything was in place. It was all part of the plan. But as the Joker, or not Joker, the Riddler comes down to plunge this knife into Batman, the building's coming down, kind of around him. So and Batman's kind of able to escape. And then we have more flashbacks to the event that took place in the 1790s. And here we have Batman comes across like this weird skeleton of this lady, or from the lady that died, but it kind of looks like it's a bat, and it was going to kind of happen again, which I thought was pretty cool, because it kind of blurred the line between what happened in the 1790s and what was happening literally 200 years later in 1990. But it was funny to see. I had to go over a couple times because it was hard to tell like what was reality, and maybe he was just inhaling some kind of like Joker toxin-esque, or maybe some kind of fear toxin. But it was Alfred that came to the rescue and got Batman out because he's going to get trapped again. And Alfred saved the day. Like I said, no one gives Alfred enough credit. They have the skeleton of the first victim, the remains of what was left, and they buried her in the Wayne. What do you call them? Mausoleums.
He put him where his parents were. Yeah,
put him with his parents. Right next to his mom, which I thought was pretty cool symbolism. And then kind of wraps it up. That's the end of the story. Finally, the lady got to be buried and put to rest, and put this whole story behind him. I thought it was a pretty good read.
Yeah. So let's discuss these 3 issues just as a whole from what we reviewed tonight. I'll say that I had never read these issues before, and I was really, this is what I love about having a guest come on. You have someone that's fresh on your channel that has different books that mean something to them or they've enjoyed that maybe you wouldn't have gotten to. And this is a story I probably never would have gotten to without a great recommendation from Noah. And I got through the first issue, and when you get to the end of the first issue, you're like, okay, I'm intrigued. I want to know what happens. And some of this doesn't make sense, but I'm trusting it's going to by the time we wrap up, which it does. There is one thing that completely does not make sense to me, though. And Noah, I need your help. Or Tony, if you have the answer to it as well. I need help when it comes to this. Why, on this particular page, which was in Tony's story, why does Batman not have pants on?
I saw that. I think it was...
He has pants on. That. He has pants on before, and he has pants on in the next page. Why does he not have pants on there?
I never caught that. I never realized.
I saw it, and I thought maybe it was either printing error or maybe the colorist.
It's got to be a colorist error. I thought maybe he wrapped her up for some reason in his pants, but on the next page, he has the pants back.
Oh, I gotta help this lady! Quick, take my pants off.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I honestly, I didn't even catch that. That's interesting.
That was the first thing that came to my mind. Like, it's got.
Yeah, as soon as I turned to that page, I'm like, "Where's his pants?"
I probably read this story like 3 times, and I haven't even caught that.
Wow. Just his pants got on fire. His boots, everything's fine. Pants gone.
Yeah,
bad material, I guess.
Yeah. So Noah and Tony, what did you think about these stories that we read?
Great. This is I think I've seen these issues, out in the wild at some dollar bin, but I never picked them up. But if I see them again, I'll have to. But yeah, I've never read this story. I guess I never realized what it was, but yeah, it's very, very, very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you were saying, like that first issue, when I read it, I was like, oh wow, I'm hooked. Like I want to know what happens. I want to know like all these things that they're kind of setting up in that first issue. And then I love the ending when you come to find out when the Riddler explains what he's been doing. He put Batman through all the preparations that young woman was put through in order to be ready for that ritual, to where then he was going to be the kind of new host for the demon. And that's why he was drowned in blood and breathe air into a hanged man and
dancing with the corpses.
It
wasn't so much that he was being attacked. They were dancing.
Yeah, and that's why the Riddler was saying those phrases of it's a can or a dance. They're wonderful partners together, and then the acrobatics being witnessed by a goat, which is interesting. Like all of these things that were set up through the issues, and you've come to find out it was all for something. And then I think we also did learn at the end that the Riddler was definitely not himself. He was possessed, I believe, by the Bat God, if I'm not mistaken. I think I did kind of rush that last issue, but
yeah, a little bit, especially in Tony's issue when they were tying Batman into the past. That I had a little bit of a hard time understanding kind of what was going on. But I'm sure it's one of those, and that doesn't necessarily mean that it's a bad story. It just means that sometimes it's something could be so written so sophisticated that you need several attempts to digest everything that's going on. And I bet if I reread it again, I would probably get something more out of that part than I got the first time.
Yeah, and it definitely could have been like drugs that Batman could have been under, or maybe there's some magic tied in there because we are dealing with like a demon and this demonic ritual. So that definitely could have been something, and that's I think why he somehow was able to talk to her down there, and that's how we learned what her name was. And there was actually the two skeletons. There was the skeleton of the woman, and then there was the separate skeleton of the bat.
See, I was also confused at one point too if the woman became the bat, because I did a little bit of reading on this too, which I usually do after I finish my story. I like to read someone else's review or take on it, and someone else is like, well, the woman became the bat. And I'm like, I didn't take that at all.
I didn't get that.
I didn't get that she became the bat. She was left down below with the bat.
Yeah, and I think there was like, because I want to say that she definitely didn't go through with the ritual because she never died in that aspect with them.
Yeah.
I think it had to win with the ceremonial knife and everything, I assume. But yeah, there definitely was something I think happened. And I think the demon was explaining how he was trapped with the woman down there all these years and how he the city grew around him. And that's why, the narration was like, I am Gotham, I am the city. And it was in that last issue where it was explaining in the old wooden beam. I was like, it's a pity the structure here is more worn when it's almost like talking about himself, which is really interesting. Just all the narration with the demon and everything, talking about how he wants Batman. And it's a very deep story too, with Batman talking about how he was made, and there's just a lot of deep thoughts that Batman goes throughout this whole story. And it does kind of tie later. And I can't say I have read the entirety of Dark Knight's Metal that came out however many years ago, but I believe it was known in that Barbathos, the Bat God is what he's known to now, is the one that put the idea of the bat that Bruce Wayne saw, and then he became Batman. So he kind of created Batman in a sense. But it's interesting too how writers, far down the line take this idea that was planted so many years ago and bring it back. I think
that's part of the fun of the comics, though.
Yeah, and that's how I knew initially about this story, was that first issue is known as a key, as the first mention of Barbathos.
Yeah.
So
okay,
yeah,
I want to say hello to Cookie, Link. Hope you're doing well, and try not to let that ever happen again.
This time we'll let it slide.
Yeah, that's like your one pass this year. So, or maybe in life. So, but thank you, Cookie, for stopping by. Hope you're doing well. Would love to have you again on the show, Cookie. It's been a long time.
Been a minute.
Come back. Yeah. So, Noah, have you ever read, when it comes to Riddler stories, have you ever read Batman One Bad Day Riddler? It's a one shot.
No, it's on my list of things I got to read, but
you need to read this. And
Good.
most people describe it as the best written Riddler story ever. How it takes Riddler from one level of a villain to like a super villain level.
ooh,
And
okay.
I do agree with it. And you only need the one issue. That's all you need. I highly recommend you to do that. And if you ever want to come back on and do it as a retro review too, we have never featured that, so we're open to that too.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
So-
No, I'll definitely try to find it and give it a read.
Yeah, think about it. So
On the not so retro review week.
we'll call it the recent review, although it is a couple
review.
years old. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess retro is a relative term.
yeah, it is. So good pick tonight, Noah. You did a great job on your retro review as well too. Your solo review, you did a really good job. So
appreciate it.
Thank you. We're going to segue over into our book show and talk about what's going on our socials and stuff. I'm going to kick it off this time. So currently on my channel, I have my back issue of the week YouTube short, and it's celebrating an Archie character, a pinup girl, Katie Keene, who in this month is celebrating her 80th anniversary. So that is currently my back issue of the week. The back issue of the week that will drop tomorrow morning. Believe it or not, we're getting ready for 4th of July, so I wanted something that had a patriotic cover to it. And I picked something a little bit out of the ordinary. It sure looks like a comic book, and it's considered, I guess, a comic book, but is it a comic book? It definitely has a patriotic cover. More details on that tomorrow. So for my comic book editions video, the one that's currently on the channel was an AOK from Southern Comic Geek. It is a huge LOL moment for me. When I thought he sent me 2 things, but he only sent 1. And I'm getting ready to unbox something that is just empty boards to protect the book.
That's funny.
So that is currently on my channel. The video that's coming up this week for comic book editions, that will drop Tuesday afternoon, is a video I've wanted to make for a while. It's called The Upgrades. And it's all books that I have in my collection and have had in my collection, but I upgraded my copies of. So I talk a little bit, like there's some of these books I'm like, I don't remember a single thing about this freaking comic book. I have it, don't remember it at all. And then there's other parts where I'm like, oh, I recall this. And so it's kind of a fun video I thought to do, and something different. I mean, here and there I've shown, oh, I'm just upgrading my copy of this. Well, this entire video is just upgrades. So that is what is on my channel. As for a book show, I thought I would pull out 2 Riddler covers from my collection, and I went Bronze Age for sure. Noah, tell me what you think about this one. This is 317 of Volume 1 of Batman.
Yeah, that is one of those covers. It's like there's a lot of Riddler books that I do still need. That is including one of them, but yeah, Riddler has some awesome covers throughout Batman's history.
He does, and this is obviously the Whitman variant.
I was just going to say,
which Whitman variants from this time frame never had the issue number printed on the cover.
Interesting. I didn't actually know that.
Yeah, so if you look up there, there's no issue number anywhere on there. And you would pull these out of like 3 packs at stores like Target or Kmart or stuff like that. Back in the day, there would be, 3 different DC comic books. They wouldn't necessarily be all Batman. They could, but you would see the book that's on the front. You would see the book that's on the back. And then there was an in-between book, which most of the time you could kind of separate a little bit in the bag and figure out what it was. So that's one I wanted to show as a book show. And then we'll jump to Batman 362. I think this is a great Riddler cover.
Absolutely. That's another one I still need in my collection.
Yeah.
Him throwing and relishing in the treasures.
Yeah, not realizing that he's got trouble right behind him. So.
Love it.
Yeah, so that's what I chose for my book show tonight.
Awesome.
Signature King, your channel, your book shows.
Yeah, I'm putting out some shorts. I'm still working on the new office here, so got a lot of. It's funny, you could see the other side of the camera where all the construction is taking place. So it's a mess. I have really moved a lot of stuff down here. Just some stuff I had to move out of the way. But yeah, I've been rearranging some posters. So tonight I went with the all Batman theme, which is kind of nice. So it's just something kind of having fun. Every time we go live, swap up the posters is kind of
that's cool.
Yeah, I love the poster with Joker in the Batcave over there.
Oh yeah, this one from the Joker War. Yeah.
Yep.
Lasso, did I get this one from you, or I don't remember?
You might have gotten that one from me. I know you got the Spawn one from me.
Yeah, I got that one. And for that one, I also got the other one where Spawn, is on.
They're reversed.
Reversed, yeah.
You want to? Hey Tony, while you had that out, why don't you just hold that up to the other one for a second, so people can see how they're reversed. Yeah, see, they're just reversed. That's cool.
That's sweet.
Yeah, so that was a nice little gift from Lasso a while ago. But I got some shorts. I'm still filming stuff as they're happening here in the office, but I don't know when that's going to come out. But in terms of books, I got a couple books here. It wouldn't be a show without showing off a couple Batman signatures. So one of the more recent ones is the big Jim Lee.
Oh yeah,
foil. Yeah, it's amazing. So the rest are all from Mike Hawthorne, who incidentally is very close to me, and I really enjoy his signature. The way he makes it like a really minimalist. Instead of just like people just writing all the way across the cover. Here it is on the Batman Beyond, and that's his signature right down here in the corner, which is pretty awesome. So there's the Batman Beyond variant. We have the gold. These are all issue 900, and each cover was limited to 1,000. So that was kind of awesome. So here's one of my favorites, the 89, Batman 89.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah, it's very cool. So. Yeah, that's the old book show.
You got a compliment on your suit as well.
I do. I was going to say that myself. I love the suit and the crown put together. It's very nice.
Yeah. Oh, this? I thought we were talking about the Batman.
No.
Yeah, you like it? Yeah. Because now I could never really wear it in the office, the old office upstairs, because the room was really small. It was really hot. But now I got so much space. My ceiling is like, I could just barely touch the ceiling. I got way more space. Before I could just touch the ceiling.
You missed it, Noah. He used to have red carpeting. Who has red carpeting? No one. He did.
It was beautiful from the 1970s.
Yes.
That's when he walks in with the crown and the suit, and it's like he's walking the red carpet.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Except when my dogs were still alive, they would shed so much. We'd get like an off red for a while.
Noah, what's going on with your socials, and where can we find you and stuff? And incidentally, there is the link in the video description for Noah to sub him up, and as well as myself, but you're already on my channel, and Signature King, and then Book Show too. Take care of all of that for us now.
Yeah, awesome. So I appreciate the link, and you can find me on Broke Boy Comics on Instagram, and Broke Boy Comics on YouTube. I have on Instagram, it's BrokeBoy_comics. So, but you should still find me.
Oh, yeah. I should sub you up. I'm going to sub you up. I totally forgot.
I was just thinking, I was like, I don't follow you. I need to do that after this. So you can find me on Instagram and YouTube. I'm trying to be better about putting, posts on Instagram. And I'm a little behind in my videos, but I do have one that's just about done. I just got to do the thumbnail and a few touch-ups on the video. That should be out tomorrow. Maybe not tomorrow, probably like Tuesday. It might be out.
Just got you another new sub.
Sweet, appreciate it. So now we're sitting on today's Sunday. So Tuesday I think my next video should be out. So that will be on the Little Giant comic show that happened back in April up in New Hampshire. But I'll be able to do the video on that, show off the really awesome books I picked up there. Because I'm determined to catch up, because my Heroes Con videos that I just went to down in North Carolina are really cool. I'm super excited to be putting those out. So I'm determined to catch up on my videos. I just have this one that's coming out this week, and then one more, and then my Heroes Con content will start coming out, and there will be quite a few videos because I took a lot of footage. So
I'll say really quickly hello to Rod, Rican Comics and Collectibles. Hi, Rod. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, appreciate
and
it.
Rod's on his way to subscribe too. That's awesome. Thank you guys for doing that. I really appreciate
everyone.
that.
Thank you guys so much. And yeah, so that's what I got going on, just putting out content and, trying to catch up here and there. And I have possibly something else in the works. I don't know when I'm going to start doing it, but possibly a live show. This is the first time ever actually mentioning it to anyone.
Okay.
So
Awesome.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if it works out.
If you ever need a guest, I'm free.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I plan if I, end up doing it, which I think I probably will be, as long as when I get all the details all worked out and the layout of how I want to do it. I want to basically invite everyone I've pretty much met ever. So
sweet.
Eventually
awesome.
this will be a very long running show. So.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah. So I just got to work out the details, but possibly have that in the works. Yes, that's what's going on with my channel. For what I brought 3 things with me. So I brought a recent pickup, one of my favorite commissions, and one of my favorite books I own in my collection. So the first one here, because we did kind of deal with like a very dark and horror-esque story, which I think the first time I ever read it, I was alone at night, and I was a little creeped out. But anyways, so the first one I have here is The House of Secrets number 100 from the Bronze Age. Classic very Bernie Wrightson cover right there. Oh, yeah. So absolutely beautiful. I picked this up at HeroesCon. So
nice.
This was very, very recent pickup.
Were you looking for it specifically, or did you just kind of find it there and it called out to you?
Yeah. I went there to help out a friend with his booth. So I actually ended up getting a vendor pass. So he was very nice enough to hook me up with that. But I saw this at his booth, and I think it was the day 2 I bought this from him. Gave me a good deal. So I helped him. I was at his booth a lot, so I was staring at this book for a few. So just happy to pick that up. I've been really interested in diving down more Bronze Age horror. So yeah, just an awesome recent pickup. Nice DC. And of course we were talking about Batman tonight, and of course my go-tos for showing things off for Batman, some of my favorite stuff. So my favorite I don't know, you guys want the commission first or the book first?
Whatever you want, whatever order you want.
All right, let's do. That didn't help me.
Then I'll say commission last. How about that?
Okay. All right. So the book I brought is a slab. It is of the Silver Age, and it is of my favorite villain. I know Riddler, I said, was one of my favorites, but this is my favorite villain of Batman's. It is the second appearance of Mr. Oh, God, the lighting there. So this is the second appearance of Mr. Freeze, 7.5 white pages, Detective Comics 373. And what I love about this book too is not only it's his second appearance, but it's the first time he was actually had the name of Mr. Freeze, because in his first appearance he was known as Mr. Zero. And in this story, it does actually, Batman does say, this was my old foe, Mr. Zero, but he is now going by Mr. Freeze. So it is the same character.
Yeah.
And 7.5 for a Silver Age book
that's great.
Pretty good grade. I was happy to I upgraded this from a 6.0 to a 7.5. I'm very happy with the grade, but if a better one comes along, why not? So again, one of my favorite villains, and happy to get his second appearance. I'm on the hunt for his prototype right now, which not a lot of people know about. It's a Blackhawk 117. Okay. Nobody even knows about it. So I've just been spreading the word a lot. So now a lot of people are probably going to know about it. But yeah, on the hunt for that, and then eventually I'll get his first appearance at some point when I have the money. But to go along with my favorite villain, I have my favorite commission of my favorite villain, done by a local artist of New England. This is done by Ryan Santos, who I recommend to absolutely anyone. And he did this amazing piece for me. Yeah.
Wow, that is great.
Yeah, his detail work in here. Like, I love how he has the batarang in his helmet, and also he utilizes the white cover like he's walking through snow.
Yeah.
It's freaking awesome. And he has like icicles coming down from the trade dress.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Ryan Santos, he did a head sketch of Mr. Freeze on my jam piece. And my jam piece, it's up to artist choice what they put on it, and it's a surprise to me when I get it back. So I coincidentally got my favorite villain for my first head sketch on my jam piece. And I loved it so much, I went back to him a show or two later. I said, hey, can you do a full Mr. Freeze for me? And he did, and he just kills it.
Did he
How
do
long
it
did it take
all
him to
at,
do something like that?
Yeah,
Sorry, go
that's
ahead.
what I was just asking. How did he do it all at the show, or did he take it with him and send it back? Or
I got this at Rhode Island Con, and I think I dropped it off to him on Friday, and I wasn't back. I skipped the Saturday. I wasn't back till Sunday.
And it
So
was ready?
he did it in between that time. But
okay,
yeah,
wow,
killed it.
that's
Dude,
great.
it would take me a decade to do that.
Yeah. Some of the things, like, because I've been diving a lot more into commissions, some of the things that these artists do in like less than an hour, it's insane. It blows me away the amount of talent that these people have. But yeah, so he is one of my favorite local and small artists, and he has a scarecrow in the works for me right now. So I'll be picking that up at Terrificon. I dropped it off to him at Little Giant in April, so he's gonna have a lot of time with it. So I think he's gonna kill it. So
What's Ryan's last name again?
Ryan Santos,
Santos.
Santos.
Okay, great. Yeah, I'm gonna go follow him on social.
Yeah, absolutely should. Yeah. He does amazing work.
Those are some awesome book shows.
Yeah, thank you. I tried to come strong.
You did a good job. So you can share with us your version of a at-home book show on Instagram. Just use the hashtag Fanboys Live and the Retro Review, because we follow that hashtag and we love to see what you want to share with us as well. So very cool. Anything else anyone wants to cover before we wrap it up tonight?
1,500 subscriber giveaway for me coming up. We're at 1477, so we're
you are right there.
Awesome.
Yeah. Getting close,
Oh.
and you're getting close to 1,000, man.
I am.
You can see it. It's so close. You can almost smell
It's
it.
starting to get in spitting distance, so which is exciting. And my video, which was an untold story from C2E2, something that came from Jenny Frizen's personal collection. That video, it continues to do very, very well for me. I think 622 views last time I checked, which for my channel is very, very good. I'm really happy with. So Noah, I got to tell you something real quick too. So Tony and I hung out together one day at C2E2 in Chicago this year, which incidentally, you need to go to that event. That is such a fun
I've heard
event.
a lot of things about that event. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're hanging out, and we had just seen, obviously with the name Magic Lasso, I'm a huge Wonder Woman fan. Wonder Woman's second appearance, her first cover appearance, Sensation Comics #1. I see a 7.5 of Sensation Comics #1. $89,000 is the asking price.
Wow.
Signature King is so much of a friend that we are over at a vendor that's selling these games. And Signature King says, if you roll, what number did I have to roll?
I forget.
It was like maybe 21 or something. Yeah. He's like, if you roll a 21, I will walk over there and buy you that Sensation Comics #1. And trust me, I wouldn't have let him out of that. So I rolled the 15.
So it could have been.
He's that good of a friend that he was willing to bet $89,000 on my bad luck.
I would have bet 89,000 nickels anytime.
It wouldn't have been nickels.
Well, he probably knows you. He knows you well enough to know he's not going to hit that number.
I would have loved to see the look on his face if I did.
Oh, that would have been amazing. Yeah.
I would have been like, yeah, let me go to the bathroom real quick.
Yeah, that's the last time I ever saw him.
Yep.
Right now, in his spot on the screen would be a co-host wanted sign. So
right. Taking applications.
Yeah, taking applications. So Noah, you were awesome. We hope that you'll come back and have some more DC fun with us in the future as well.
Absolutely.
And once again, there's links in the description for this video. Please, thank you for those that sub Noah up in the live chat. If you're watching on the rewind, please sub him up as well. Next week, we have Silver Hair Bronze Age Babe. She is back with us, and she says we're doing Superman. I know we've been doing a lot of Superman, but she says we're doing Superman, and we're doing some sand Superman stories. So if you don't know who or what sand Superman is, you're going to find out next week on the Retro Review. So that's what we have planned for you. Have a fantastic, wonderful, excellent, safe, happy, healthy week, and we will catch you next week. Until then, bye.
Bye.